Hey folks, I'm back again. I've got another holster in here, and this customer sent me another holster to repair two holsters. That's kind of a junk holster. Somebody had really did a number and they cut a big significant portion off of there. I don't know why. Doesn't matter. There are parts of this holster that I can make use of to repair the other two holsters that he sent me. So I'm going to get on with the first one. It's going to be a pretty quick repair. All it's going to be is this strap. I do have to try to get some of the black off of here to get it more to a dark brown. So I'll take you along for the process. We'll see what we can do. This is a 1941 holster. The one I'm repairing is 1936. So I'm hoping that everything's going to line up okay. Otherwise I'll have to make a new strap is all. Not a big deal. We'll get her done though. Alright, so a lot of holsters. This is the 36 or 38. I'm going to go with the 6. This one is a dark brown, and at some point during production there were some of the dark brown holsters, or the brown holsters, were dyed black, and sometimes you can get that black dye to come off fairly easily and get it back to a brown. I'm kind of going with a hope on that, otherwise I'll have to make a new strap. It's not a big deal either way. I've done plenty of these straps. So the first thing I want to do is I want to get this one off. So I can count my holes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I can count them on here. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this one has less holes, which could be tricky. It's not hard to make an extra hole somewhere if I need to. If I hold it up here, it does look like I can go down one more hole, which isn't a big deal. One of the things that you want to look for when you're doing this, and this is why I didn't pull the threads out of here, you can see that this one crossed over, and it's not real obvious where they tied a knot, but you can kind of see it here. That's where they tied it off. That's the only place I see, but you want to make sure you're looking at it, because this one is done this way. Well, this one, get that in there, is not. The threads, get that in there. Threads don't cross over here. There's actually a knot right here that was tied. So it's kind of hard to see some of that stuff, but that's why part of what, I don't know, makes this task a little more interesting is I get to look, and I get to look and see different construction methods. That's kind of cool. Well, this strap was apparently originally dyed black. I cannot get the dye to come back. If it was brown first and then dyed black, usually you can get the black off. So that's how I know it was originally dyed black. So I'm going to have to take this strap off, and we'll just make another one just like it. That is not the knot on the inside. The knot, so I'm going to get the glare off of that, was tied under the loop, and it's very obvious right there. So they didn't cross over underneath like on the other holster. They crossed over here and tied off, which could leave me some interesting challenges. I am going to take a picture of this so that I know that's how it was done. I always do that anytime I'm doing a holster like this. I want to make sure. We'll also take a picture of the back of the strap. Not on the front camera, you ding dong. And those are just so that I have something to reference when it comes time to reassemble. But this is all this holster needs, is that strap replaced. So I'm going to get after it. When I have a scrap like this, it's got a little bit of light brown dye in the middle here. That's not going to be an issue. It's a 1 inch wide strap. I use these to make key tags like this. Don't even glue them, or don't even stitch them. They're just glued and ready to go to work. But I always will, when I have a piece, I'll just cut the straps off it. And sometimes I'll go ahead and buy a strap. But this comes up to 2.6. I'd rather err on the side of a little thicker than a little thinner. So that's what I got to go with. It's already 1 inch wide, so that'll be pretty easy. I'm going to pull the stitches out of here now that I've got my pictures, take all the stitching out, and you don't need to see that because it's just time consuming. Holster. So I took the old strap, which was, at least this part was intact, so I could make all my mark all my stitch holes on the new piece. And basically I just trace out the old one if I have the old one. If not, I have patterns that I can use to make a new one. And I'm going to make sure that I got the right number of holes here. 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And a lot of times these will be a different count on each side. So this is 5. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one's 5 too. Some of them I've run into that had 5 on one side and 6 on the other. So that's one of those little interesting things. So I got everything kind of roughed in. I'm going to go ahead and sand these edges just so they kind of take a little better shape. Just because everything's kind of a sharp edge right now. And it shouldn't be. But these top corners are, on the original, are kind of got just the corners lopped off a little. I'm just trying to smooth things out a little bit, kind of make it look like the original piece. Grab an edger. This is just a number 3 Odin. Just want to knock that hard edge off. So now these usually use a, they have a diamond stitch hole in them. I don't know how well that's going to show up, but they're a diamond shaped stitch hole. And the spacing is not always very accurate. So you do need to have a single punch. And then we're going to skive this. Now this was skived quite a bit, almost down to nothing. I could use my synth skiving knife, but I have found in the past that my safety skiver works better for this kind of thing. And I'm basically going to go, this was skived pretty much from just in front of the bottom hole down, so that's what I'm going to do too. If you do it on your mat, what happens is that when your blade comes off the edge, it digs into your mat. you wind up with a little, what I call flash, right on the end. And that you can usually get to come off sometimes. You can just kind of hit it with a lighter and get rid of it that way. So now my top is perfect. My bottom is just about perfect. So I have some holes that I need to make. And these are kind of elongated, so I'm kind of getting a guess here. And that's my smallest 1/8 inch. That looks like that's going to be about right. So I got my 3 holes. They should be positioned right where these were. Right on the money, honey. Well, a little bit of Conley's on there, brings it right around. Gets my color pretty decent. So I need to put, this one has, kind of see it on the tip. There's a little bead line there. And I need to put one on here. And this stupid little tool has come in handier than ever when it comes to getting that line in there. This, you know, you can burnish with this end. It's also set up so that you can use it for putting that decorative bead on there. And that's what I'm going to do. And there you go. Put that little bead in there. I don't know, it looks a little better that way. It has, there's 3 different sizes here. I wonder if I can show them. So I've got, that's the widest. That one's a little narrower. So you can see they're all just a little bit different, a little different width to them. And I think that looks pretty good. So I think this has turned out wonderful. Here's my holster. Maybe a little darker would be nice. Boy. Is that much darker? Yes, it is. Well, it's a good thing I have a second strap. I may try to just add a little more dye to this one and see if we can get her a little darker. Otherwise, I did cut another strap because you never cut just one. So I'm going to get see if this will dye a little darker. I'm going to get this one going too. I think I'm going to add a little bit of chocolate to it, just a couple of couple drops. I keep these little cups around just for such a thing. Need to, whew, oh, that's a close one. There ain't much left in there, so it's the way I like it. While I'm here though, I might as well. And I got it a little damp with the dye. It just seems to work just a little bit better when it's damp. With a metal creaser you can get it hot, that helps too. Use a heat gun or alcohol lamp or your lighter. Doesn't have to get super hot, just got to warm it up a little bit. Well, there we go. I need to see how this is going to dry. A little more on the back, darken that up just a touch. And there we go. I'll leave this sit overnight. I screwed up my back today, so I am not having a long day in the shop. Well, I believe we got a pretty decent match. You're never going to get perfect, but I think that's pretty darn good. At least it looks that way to me. It's fairly dark, and I think we're going to go with it. It's hard to get a perfect match out of anything. I could probably, this might darken up a little more if I put some Conleys on it here. Let's try it. I mean, it will darken up a little bit. Well, it's a little bit darker, not a lot. And at this point it doesn't take me long to go ahead and just punch it out or cut it out. But I don't think there's enough difference in the color to worry about it. I think this is going to be just fine. If I hold it up here, yeah, I think we're good with this. I'm starting to sew this on. I went the first hole in the top of the strap here. And then there's one hole over to make it a nice binding stitch on there. And then we'll just get on our way here. I want to watch the top here, so I want my threads to lay beside each other. And you can kind of use, zoom this in a little bit. You can kind of use your awl to just kind of, as a guide, just to guide it down. And you should always make sure you have everything you need. You should put some stuff away so it's out of my hair here. Always make sure you got your pliers by you. You will need it. On the inside, I'm going to try to keep that thread laying beside the other one too. And we'll just go on down the row. It sure looks like they had a knot tied right here, which is all well and good. I could certainly do that. The knots aren't very big. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. And we're just going to make a square knot because that's what they used. There we go. I have never had a square knot come apart on me. I imagine it's possible. I do cut them kind of close. Not super duper close, but pretty close. And I want to tap that down. I always like taking my vintage hammer whenever I'm doing these old holsters. Why not? There we go. I just need to lightly color this. So after I stitch up a holster, I like to keep the little extra tag ends of the thread, and this is just straight Phoebing's light brown Pro Dye. And that's a little dark, but that's how I test it. If you want it a little lighter, you can thin it out. I usually keep another one of these with a little alcohol, just straight alcohol in it, to clean my brush. And this is just regular 91% isopropyl alcohol. You can buy in the hardware stores, have it, and drugstores, and I think that's where I want to be, right there. Yep, that's a pretty good match. And I just take my brush. I've taken the tip of my brush and I've trimmed it so that this part's a little bit easier. I'm going to let that sit a little bit. It looks like it needs to go just a touch darker, and I'll go over it again and then. Usually you just take the tip of your brush and just touch it to the thread, and that thread will just kind of wick it in. But I'll probably let that dry a little bit more, go over it one more time, then we will go over well, at least this area with some Connollys, and that will darken that up a little bit too. I think we're going to be right where we want to be. 1936 Luger holster. All we did is replace the strap. No big deal. Pretty quick and, well, not quick. It's all time consuming. Whenever you have to make a strap and try to match a dye and all that kind of stuff, it just takes time to get it right. And I always start with a lighter dye. Because it's easy to go darker. It's hard to make it lighter. So there's your tip for the day. Got the thread to match pretty decent. There again, start lighter. You can always get it a little darker. And I guess that's going to be it for this one. Hit that like button down below there. Drop a comment. I like to hear from my viewers. There is a link to my Amazon store down below where you can find some of the tools and such that we use here, along with some other stuff that I use from time to time. Yeah, or that I've used to repair cars and that kind of thing. There's some of that down there too. With that being said, stay safe, God bless, I'll catch you in the next video.